All right, so let's jump into some college hoops. We've got a listener question here that's right in our wheelhouse. Can Rutgers cover the spread against Michigan this Thursday?
Yeah.
They're 9.5-point underdogs.
Yeah. Big underdogs on the road.
On the road against the 15th ranked Wolverines.
That's right.
And you guys have sent us some really interesting articles.
Yep. Some great stuff.
And we've got some fun insights to share, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a fascinating one. You know what makes it really interesting to me is that on the surface, Rutgers is coming in red hot. They just blew out USC 95-85.
Wow.
Shot the lights out. Set a program record from the free throw line, 92.9%.
Really?
But can they keep that up against a Michigan team that's known for its defense?
Right. And it's not like Rutgers is typically known as this high-scoring team.
Right.
Their 76 points per game average is the highest it's been under their current coach.
Wow.
And it's really rare for the program in their long history.
Yeah. So that's key for us in trying to understand the spread. Like, is that offensive explosion sustainable, or is it just a one-off?
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the players who are driving this offense. Freshman Dylan Harper has been unbelievable since coming back from injury.
Oh, he's been great.
He had 25 points, 9 assists, and 6 steals against USC. That's a Big Ten record for steals.
It is.
Since he came back, he's averaging almost 22 points a game.
Yeah, and Harper's a force. And he's not alone. He and fellow freshman Ace Bailey are making history together. They're currently 3rd and 4th on Rutgers' all-time freshman scoring list.
Wow.
And Harper is only 32 points away from taking the top spot.
Wow. So, they've got the firepower, but can they handle Michigan's defense?
That's the question.
The Wolverines are a defensive juggernaut.
Yeah.
They're second in the Big Ten in field goal percentage defense.
Absolutely. And they've got the size to back it up. Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf are both ranked 4th in the Big Ten in blocks. Wolf especially is just a problem for opponents. He's averaging a double-double, 12.3 points, and 10 rebounds a game.
Yeah, and remember that monster game he had against USC?
Oh, yeah.
21 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 blocks, and 2 steals.
Goodness gracious.
No one in a Power 5 conference has done that since 2003.
Nope. That kind of performance really underscores just how dominant Michigan can be, especially on defense.
But here's the thing. Rutgers actually beat Michigan on their home court last year.
That's true.
So,
What? This Michigan team's under a new coach, Dusty May, and they're playing at a whole other level this season. So last year's result might not be the best predictor for this matchup.
right. Okay, so let's look at the spread itself. When favored by 9.5 points or more, Michigan has covered the spread in 6 out of 9 games this season.
That's right. And while Rutgers has only been the underdog by that much twice this season, they covered the spread both times.
Huh? So we've got a high-scoring Rutgers team facing a defensive juggernaut in Michigan.
Yeah.
And the historical data gives us mixed signals. So where do we go from here?
Well, I think to really understand whether Rutgers can cover, we have to kind of go beyond those basic stats and think about how these two teams match up.
Okay.
For example, how might Rutgers' offensive strategy be affected by Michigan's really strong interior D?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Rutgers really relies on penetration getting to the basket,
Right.
which is exactly what Michigan wants to shut down.
Yeah.
Those twin towers, they make the paint a no-fly zone.
So does that mean Rutgers is doomed?
Not necessarily. Remember, Rutgers has those talented freshman guards,
Right.
Harper and Bailey.
Right.
If those guys can knock down some outside shots consistently, it'll force Michigan to adjust their defense. Open up some driving lanes.
Okay. And what about Rutgers' defense? They haven't really been as impressive as Michigan on that end of the floor.
Right, Rutgers is going to need to find a way to contain Michigan's offense,
Yeah.
which is efficient, even if it's not super flashy.
Yeah.
They don't rely on any one player, so it's going to have to be a team effort to slow them down.
Yeah.
So it sounds like this matchup really hinges on whether Rutgers can overcome Michigan's strengths.
Yeah.
Can they shoot well enough from the perimeter to keep the Wolverines honest? Can they limit Michigan's scoring opportunities?
Exactly. And let's not forget about those intangible factors.
Right.
This game is in Ann Arbor.
Oh, right.
Michigan's going to have that home court advantage.
Right.
But Michigan also has a first-year coach.
Right.
So it's hard to say how much that'll play into things.
Yeah, that's interesting. Will the crowd be as intense with a new coach? Will the players feel the same pressure at home?
Those are great questions. And they're tough to answer. We know Michigan has been really tough to beat at home historically.
Right.
But this season does add a little bit of uncertainty.
Okay, so we've got the strategic matchup,
Yep.
the home court factor.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we should be thinking about?
Well, thinking back to the spread, Rutgers has been the underdog by 9.5 points or more only 2 times this year, and they've covered both times. So that suggests to me that maybe they're a little bit better at exceeding expectations than their overall record would indicate.
So while the odds makers are definitely favoring Michigan,
Yeah,
Rutgers has shown they can outperform expectations when they're facing a large spread.
precisely. They have a knack for keeping games close, even when they're not favored. Which brings us back to our listener's question. Can Rutgers cover?
Yeah, so based on everything we've talked about, it seems like there's a real possibility.
I think so too. While Michigan definitely has the edge on paper,
Right.
Rutgers has the talent, and they have that track record to keep this game within the spread.
So for our listener who's thinking about, making a decision here,
Yeah.
what should they be thinking about?
They should really consider whether those Rutgers guards can shoot well enough to force Michigan to adjust their D.
Okay.
Can they contain Michigan's balanced scoring attack?
Right.
And then how much weight do they want to put on that uncertainty of Michigan's home court advantage with a new coach?
So it sounds like this is one of those games where the numbers tell one story,
Yeah.
but, those intangible factors
Fake X factors.
could really tip the scales.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating matchup. I'm really eager to see how it plays out.
Okay, so for our listener who wants to know if Rutgers can cover that spread, what's the final verdict?
It's a tough call. But I do think there's a real chance they can. I mean, they have the offensive firepower to put up points, even against a tough D like Michigan's.
But Michigan's defense, that's their calling card, right?
Absolutely. And that's what makes this matchup so intriguing. If Rutgers can hit their shots from outside, it neutralizes Michigan's size advantage inside and opens things up for those guards.
You mentioned earlier that Rutgers has this history of exceeding expectations when they're big underdogs. Does that factor into your thinking at all?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, they've shown a resilience and an ability to keep games close,
Yeah.
even when the odds are stacked against them. And with a 9.5 point spread, they don't have to win outright to cover.
So even if Michigan wins the game,
Yep.
Rutgers can still cover if they keep it close.
That's exactly right. And with the uncertainty surrounding Michigan's home court advantage with a new coach, it's even more likely that Rutgers could stay within that 9.5 point margin.
Okay, so final thought for our listener as they're, considering this bet. What's the one thing they should keep in mind?
I think watch the 3 point line.
Okay,
If Rutgers is hitting their outside shots, they've got a great chance of covering.
right.
If they're cold from deep, it's going to be a much tougher task.
Great insight. It sounds like this one could be a real nail-biter. We've given you all the information. Now it's up to you to decide. Good luck with your bets, and thanks for joining us for another deep dive.